Taiwan. I'm Ethan Liu with 10 minutes of news from here in Taiwan and around the world. The all-powerful chip or semiconductor has become a matter of national security for some countries, with those governments working to keep advanced tech know-how within their borders. Joyce Sen takes a look at how chip schools are being affected.
All in that little, without that computer chip, we got a real problem.
The semiconductor industry has long chased new boundaries of what a chip can do. These little pieces of silicon power everything from consumer electronics to weapon systems. Their importance is why countries like the US and China have been competing for tech supremacy. Through its CHIPS Act, Washington has largely cut Beijing off from its most advanced tools and know-how.
遏制打压是阻挡不了中国发展的，只会增强中国自立自强、科技创新的决心和能力。
But despite a geopolitical feud over chip tech, pushing the semiconductor industry forward depends on many countries combining their strengths. That's because no single company or country can design, make, and package the most advanced chips on their own. And as engineers chase even more powerful specs, collaboration becomes increasingly necessary.
They need the top-level talents in the world to actually solve it, because the problem nowadays, they are multidisciplinary.
To excel in the field, chip students say a command of just physics, electrical engineering, or another STEM subject alone is no longer enough.
当我的线宽变小的时候，它背后的这些基础科学的这些效应，就变得越来越严重，越来越明显。
Chip schools in Taiwan want to make sure their students can take the lead in this highly globalized industry. They're relying on cross-border exchanges to train them, both by attracting international students to study here and by sending Taiwanese students overseas.
We imagine for them to be working for a global company, we would expect that our students to be capable of handling all this kind of collaboration.
But the intensifying tech battle between Washington and Beijing could disrupt these efforts. Future tech leaders may well have to be prepared for a more combative industry environment rather than a collaborative one. Justin Wu, Andy Xue, and Joyce Zhen for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's government is considering letting migrant workers from India into the country. So far, the migrant labor force comes from a handful of Southeast Asian countries, but faced with an aging population and shrinking workforce, the government hopes to diversify the country's sources of migrant labor. It expects to sign a memorandum of understanding with India as soon as October, but rights groups say this won't solve fundamental issues migrant workers often face.
进来之后没有同工同酬，比如说移工的雇主不用提拨6%的退休，用完就丢的性质非常强。第二个，不得自由转换雇主，然后让每个移工绑在每个工作的现场，这完全符合人口贩运的那种脆弱处境。
Taiwan could be facing a surplus of medical professionals, a problem some experts believe could result in higher medical fees for patients. Reese Ayers reports.
Taiwan has too many pharmacists. That's according to a study by the Federation of Taiwan Pharmacists Association. It's a concern echoed by wider medical and pharmaceutical industries in the country. With a population of over 23 million, Taiwan has around 13 pharmacists per 100,000 people, compared to just 8.6 in other developed countries. And the Education Ministry recently approved the establishment of a pharmaceutical department at a university in East Taiwan, which experts fear could make the situation even worse.
教育部、技职司、卫福部还有药师工会，在明年初坐下来讨论，针对总额要怎么挪动分配，定出游戏规则。
It's not just a surplus of pharmacists causing concerns among the medical community. There's also an oversupply of traditional Chinese medicine doctors. This increase could have serious implications for the general population.
因为这个人数一多，就会压缩健保的资源。在这个情况下，就会把一些比较有效的医疗去压去自费去了。那这对于某些负担不起自费的群众是一件 很严重的事情。
Taiwan's national healthcare system covers most, but not all, medical fees for patients. However, with more clinics and more doctors, the government's health insurance funds may be stretched more thinly. This could in turn increase co-payment for patients. One university suggested a possible solution to the surplus of TCM doctors could be to encourage them to look for jobs in medical research facilities instead of working in local clinics. Until then, the health and education ministries will need to consider how to prevent an increase in medical costs should the number of practitioners continue to rise. Scott Huang and Reese Ayres for TaiwanPlus.
A new dance production is using technology to make their show more accessible and enjoyable for deaf patrons. John Van Trist tells us more.
These dancers have a mission: to bring art to all. They're part of a new production in Taoyuan that's using tech to make sure the experience reaches everyone, even those who can't hear the music. Each audience member will get a special vest like the ones the dancers are wearing. The show's director explains the idea.
它还附有8颗的振动器，这个振动呢，它也会展现出这个音乐每一个不同的那个层次，然后产生不同的振动。那这个灯条设计，它会依照音乐给人家的情感，然后给我们的感受，然后去产生不一样的情绪上面的一些颜色。
This is especially meant to make the show more accessible and interesting to deaf patrons. And this isn't just for people in the audience. One of the lead dancers is also deaf.
蓝是一位聋人，他习惯用手语沟通，彼此的身份上面有一些差异，所以我们在工作的时候，我们其实会需要练习更多的默契。
The city hopes this will be more than a one-off, and that it will lead to more performances thinking about accessibility in their productions.
更重要的是能够推进文化平权，或者是让听障的朋友能够参与艺文表演这一块。那我们希望这样子的装置开发，未来可以成为展演中心，或者是全台湾各剧场空间里面一个服务的一些设施。
The show will only have a 2-day run, but the hope is it will kick off a change in the way theaters and directors think about inclusivity. Patrick Chen and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
A new plant exhibition called Breaking the Binary has opened in the UK's Kew Gardens. As the name may have suggested, it showcases the gender fluidity inherent in nature. Sully Jensen has more.
Nature is queer. Take, for example, the field pumpkin flower, the pitcher plant, or the wild pansy. None of them are male or female, they're both. This is Breaking the Binary's temporary garden display, part of the Queer Nature Autumn Festival at the UK's Kew Gardens. The exhibition features species that reproduce in ways that challenge binary language, like the words male and female usually used to describe plants.
We are highlighting some of the incredible things that happen in nature, some of those plants and fungi that sort of challenge traditional expectations, and really looking at the diversity and amplifying queer voices through that.
Some plants are only male or female, but most have both female and male structures. They're hermaphrodites. In botany, this diversity is crucial for adaptation and survival. By having different traits, plants can better meet the challenges of different environments, and gender is no exception.
The overwhelming response actually has been, people have been really moved by it. I think a lot of people haven't really known until they walked through the doors what they were really going to see.
And for many, once they have walked through the doors, they will see the beauty in breaking the botanical binary. Joseph Wu and Sally Jensen for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching today's What's Up Taiwan. Remember to download the TaiwanPlus app for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, we leave you with images of harpy eagles released into the wild 5 years after being rescued. I'm Ethan Liu. Take care, and I'll see you next time.